It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but I have mixed feelings about everybody having the day off and just kind of celebrating it as a day off. I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this, but it's not very easy. So I think I'm gonna just try to keep it organic. The civil rights movement was a fight for Black Americans seeking social justice to end discrimination and segregation. But really, it was a fight for Black Americans to be granted the civil liberties that were promised to us by the Constitution. We live in a nation that has always benefited off of the oppressors holding down and differentiating themselves from the oppressed. During the civil rights era, it was very black and white. Jim Crow laws, right? The ruling class was trying to keep black people subservient. Not that black people are subservient by nature, but slavery. They were trying to keep us under them, trying to keep control through laws, the Jim Crow era. And that's what our nation has always done, you know? There's always been one ruling class. And it kind of feels fucked up that everybody gets the day off, because there are so many people today that take the day off, that get this day off, that don't acknowledge that there is still so much systemic racism, and that racism is still so prevalent within our system and within just day-to-day life. You know how many times I've heard people say that racism is not a thing anymore, or that they didn't know that racism was a thing? The same people that refuse to believe that racism is alive and thriving, and that the system still very much holds down black people and all minorities really, are the same people that are getting today off, getting a free day off, and not even thinking about it. Honestly, if anything, they're thanking Martin Luther King Jr. for having a day off, and that's it. I wasn't really around black people my whole life, but I seen how the system works. I went to so many different schools, and I either went to white schools, predominantly white schools that were funded to the max, great resources, just helping kids from a young age, giving them all the tools they needed to be able to be what they could be to succeed in this nation. Or I went to underfunded schools where minorities were more or less driven to and not given the same resources and not given access to the same education. Our system still very much favors white people, and white people have all the resources to be everything that they can be to succeed in this nation from a young age all the way through. And it very much holds down minorities. And the same people that look at me and tell me, you're a black man in America, and look at you, you're doing fine. Why can't everybody else just do what you did? Why can't everybody else just do what you're doing? Why can't everybody else pick themselves up by the bootstraps? That's one that I've heard a lot, and I know y'all have heard that one. The same people that fail to recognize the privileges that I've had to be in the position that I'm in, not to mention the fight that I've had to have and how much harder it has been for me to get into this position, are the same people. I'm not trying to cry, but the same people, had to take a second. The same people that fail to recognize how the system is still very broken are the same people who are spending today with their families, celebrating today off like it's a monumental achievement for them. Thank the civil rights movement. Thank Martin Luther King Jr. We have a day off. And the people who should be celebrating today are the working class that are probably working today and probably don't have today off. So yeah, I had to take a break, y'all. Obviously, this is a topic that invokes heavy emotional response within me, because the system is fucked up, y'all. God. But if you're celebrating today, just try not to look at it. Try not to look at it as a day off, especially if it ain't for you. Try to do some kind of work, even if it's only mentally, to think about what the civil rights movement actually stood for, what Martin Luther King Jr. actually was trying to achieve, and how we need to work on racial equity in order to achieve true racial equality. And that's really all that I got for y'all today.